Hi, welcome to 1111 Oracle. So glad to have you with me today. Let's get started in this beautiful reading that we have set up of who is going to be your fairy tale character. And after I tell you who your fairy tale character is, could be something that you're not expecting. I have all kinds of unconventional fairy tale stories in here. Then I'm going to draw other cards and I will take a look to see what kind of a person you are. Who are you, essentially, through this fairy tale character and in other clarifying cards. All right, so let's get started. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, number 1. Hello, number 1. Thanks for joining me today. Let's take a look at who's your fairy tale character. This side. Okay, so let's go. Who's your fairy tale character group 1? Who's your fairy tale character group 1? We just want one card from here. Who is your fairy tale character? Interesting. So I got a weird message. I got that there are 3 potential categories in this group. So what I'm going to do is, in an overarching, So what we have with you guys, since it's a general reading, is we have sort of three camps here, 3 groups. Okay. So we have basically, they're going to be different people who identify with different characters, but you're going to have an overarching sort of archetype in this card for the entire group. So let's start off with the individual character that you are. So pick a number from 1 to 3. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And let's see. If you pick number 1, who's your fairy tale character? And I'll speak a little bit about it. So I don't know if you can see the writing. Probably you may not. Okay. So it says Vasilisa the Brave, and the keyword is courage. So you may want to look up that story. I'm not too familiar with this story 100%. And I know that groups 2 and 3 are waiting for your character, but we'll just get a general assessment. So I'll leave that for you on the side. So just, you may want to look that up. Vasilisa the Brave. Okay. So you may want to look that up. Otherwise, if you don't want to look that up, you are someone who is very courageous and brave. And you generally do things that a lot of people don't like to do. But you say your sort of MO is someone's got to do it, right? We'll get a bigger picture afterwards. Okay, number 2, you got the poisoned apple. The keyword being jealousy. You are someone who a lot of people are envious of you and jealous of you. They want to guard you jealously and keep you to themselves. And this is a problem sometimes. You may have people fighting over you, friends fighting over you, or even like a threesome situation where you have a couple guys or girls fighting over you. The story, as you can see with the poisoned apple and everything, would be Snow White. So if you chose number 2, then you are Snow White. Okay. And number 3, if you chose number 3, oh, nice. Okay, you are either Rumpelstiltskin himself, or you are the girl in Rumpelstiltskin, right? You have to, you're kind of the glue that holds the family together. You hold everybody's secrets. Everybody comes to you with their secrets. It's not always fair because you have to always, and often anyway, take the brunt of other people's mistakes and errors within your family unit in particular, but that could extend to other areas of your life as well. Either way, you seem to be protected, you come out strong, or you will come out strong. There's something that connects all of these characters together, so I kind of see it. Whereas some of you, you know, you may deal with each and every one of you, you may deal with challenges in a slightly different way. You still, each and every one of you gets, how do I put this? It's like you often take the brunt of other people's mistakes in general, or you just, you're unjustly treated, or you're unjustly accused, or you're unjustly defined, your personality. You get a lot of people projecting onto you. You may want to look at the term Heyoka empath. You may be a Heyoka empath, H-E-Y-O-K-A, I believe. Heyoka empath, yes. This is probably one of the most powerful types of empath, and this kind of empath is also known as the sacred clown, and often will mirror other people's actions unknowingly, or their facial expressions or their energy, and then project that outwards back to, in other words, you're someone who's very reactive, and not necessarily in a bad way, but just you are an outwardly emotional kind of expressive person. Okay, so you will respond intuitively to each place's energy, each person's energy, and the person that you come into contact with a negative energy, well, you're going to mirror that without meaning to, and then they're going to feel their energy sort of on you. They're going to project their negative stuff onto you and think that it's you, and then ultimately at the end of the day they'll realize that actually it wasn't you at all, it was them, and they were just simply projecting. But you could be basically more on the side end of the spectrum where you feel like you're always taking risks and being the leader for the group because other people are too afraid, and you would like other people maybe to take care of you or to lead every now and then because it's exhausting to have to always lead the group. But you're the brave one who has to kind of risk, put the, be the pioneer and put the, first step forward into the unknown. And people project these qualities of hyper strength onto you, which sounds great, but like I said, can be pretty exhausting if people do it all the time and you don't feel like you have enough support. Okay, so you may feel like you do have a lot of support from certain groups of people, but sometimes, even though people are well-intentioned, you just can't help but feel a little pang of guilt for feeling a little resentment at the end of the day. You may or may not relate to that. The Snow White, you are someone who's just lovely physically. People are drawn to you. Everyone is drawn to you, and you attract, unfortunately, the evil eyes. You may want to look into protecting yourself so you stop receiving these unwanted projections from other people at times. Even though they are positive projections, a lot of the times they can be negative. There's the good and the bad, right? So we see a pattern of good and bad projections here. Interesting. With Rumpelstiltskin, with the girl, the king of the castle, whom she was, Rumpelstiltskin was weaving straw into gold for. She was basically in that castle because her father spun this tall tale that she was able, I have a daughter who can weave straw into gold. And obviously that wasn't true. And so the king basically locked his daughter up and forced her to produce this gold out of straw, which she wasn't able to do. So Rumpelstiltskin had to come. And so there's this projection that she's this miracle worker. Ultimately, at the end of the day, she's divinely protected. You're divinely protected in all cases. You are divinely protected. And all of you are on a very special and important mission. Now, you also may find that you resonate with aspects of each one of these cards and not one in particular. Whoops. And you may be from this group if you resonate with all the characteristics. Just saying. Just saying. Not necessarily, but just saying. Whoa. So your collective fairy tale character is very intense. This is a story called The Juniper Tree, and the key word is deception. If I give you a close-up, you can see quite an intense card. So what this story is about is basically there's this father who lost his wife. He marries again, and the stepmother turns out to be quite envious of the brother of this character here, because the brother was from the first marriage. And so she basically decides to concoct this disclaimer alert. If you're overly sensitive to gruesome details, etc., you may not want to listen. But basically the mother or the stepmother opens this container and she says, look inside, there's an apple. I don't know, some weird fairy tale stuff. He looks inside and then she closes the lid on his head and severs his head. Then she attempts to put his head back on and bandage it so that the girl, this character who comes in, won't see that he's passed on. I don't know what sheltered world they live in, but anyway, so she comes in and then she tells the girl, if you basically slap your brother or something, you have to slap him because he's been naughty. I don't remember why exactly. There was a reason that she had to slap him. Because, yes, he wasn't answering her. He wasn't answering her because he's dead. But the girl's like, why isn't he answering me? So the mother's just like, you have to slap him. So I don't remember. Some details. You look into The Juniper Tree. But basically, the girl slaps the boy's head off because it's just bandaged on and it's been severed. And she freaks out and thinks that she killed her brother. And this is the mother's plan all along, to make it seem like, she can get away with murder, basically. Ultimately, she can't get away with murder because these birds, so the mother or the daughter takes his body and then buries his body under a juniper tree, his bones. And this bird starts to sing, and the bird starts to sing of how the stepmother killed the brother. So the little bird spills the beans about the stepmother killing her brother. And then this bird starts to sing even louder and follows her back home and appears again around the father, and then sings of the true tale of events of what happened. And I don't know what happens to the stepmother, but basically they get rid of her somehow. And, they live happily ever after, like fairy tales. Live happily ever after. So I'm just going to put these aside here. Put them in order. And I'm going to put this one here. But basically, this talks about the main theme of your sort of fairy tale character. The fairy tale characters are all kind of the same, where people tend to project non-truths onto you. And these non-truths, these lies, either put you in some kind of a difficult situation, or you receive certain unfortunate circumstances because of it. You're kept in the dark. Some terrible secret is kept from you, or you know, because of who you are, you're persecuted unjustly because people are envious, because, you know, you deal with a lot of envy, a lot of jealousy, and you're also someone who you don't deal with it, though. I should say that. I should point it out. You do have people who try because of your past, and some certain things happened within the history of your own life, within your childhood perhaps, where people treated you in such a way, or something came about where you couldn't trust people. Okay, they lost your trust somehow. And your life's mission, part of it is working on how to trust people again, but how to trust the right kind of people, because of course you can't just trust anyone, right? So I think it's very interesting because you're very strong. And you may know this already, but you may not realize, I'm hearing some of you go, no, you know, I'm not strong. And you are. You're very strong. You don't realize how strong you are. You've come through and you've survived a lot of criticism from other people, a lot of toxic energy, a lot of negativity, and yet you haven't turned into a meek, obliging, person who's just kind of like a yes man or yes woman or whatever to everyone. Instead, you keep growing in confidence. So the difficulties from the past have just made you grow in confidence and to grow in maturity and wisdom. And so you're able to very clearly see through people's facades. And people cannot trick you with, you know, any kind of glitz and glamour and superficial presentation of who they are. You see deeper than that. Now let's take a look at, I want to shuffle my Faeries Oracle deck here. And we're going to get a few more clues about who you are. So we talked about just the negativity that you've experienced in the past with the soul shrinker. Soul shrinker. This also speaks to the internalized negativity that you've taken from other people's words. And now you you can be highly critical of yourself. And the good thing is that, you know, on the outside, you are a good person. You're friendly, and you're a good person on the inside as well, of course. You're a friendly person. You like to, I'm hearing, entertain other people. You've learned how to use entertaining other people as a sort of like a survival tactic in a way. It's like a non-threat to other people. It's non-threatening, if you know what I mean. Okay, you have this powerful energy for sure, and you often experience high synchronicities around you. You may be, I mentioned Heyoka, I'm going to say it again. I'm really getting Heyoka vibes with this group. So I would recommend looking that term up and seeing if you relate. But you definitely do feel other people's energies intensely, and other people feel your energy because your aura is quite big. Your aura is quite ginormous, let's put it that way, all right? Usually people who are empaths, and especially Heyoka empaths, have a very big aura because your body, your ethereal body, your aura, your auric field is acting like a sponge, just sort of, I don't know if that's what's happening scientifically. So, I couldn't speak to that level, but basically, metaphorically speaking or poetically speaking, you're sort of soaking up people's energies. And when your auric field spreads out so far across, let's say a football field, for example, whoever else is in that football field is also going to feel that energy because your energy is taking over that space. And usually people's energies are not generally anywhere near as big as yours. So you have the soul shrinker. This talks again, like I said, to the inner demons in your head. But I'm getting the feeling that you generally keep, despite everything that you've been through, you keep a pretty positive mindset, a pretty positive frame of mind. You push through, at least on the outside. You give off a certain intimidating vibe to some, and it speaks more to your level of you just don't stop. Okay, you're like that Energizer bunny. If you remember those commercials, if you're old enough, you just keep going and going and going and going, and that's how people see you as well. You're just this fireball of energy, and you keep going, and no one can get in your way. You're well traveled, or you would like to travel a lot. Okay, if you're watching this right now during COVID, you may have taken stock of all of the places you'd like to travel, and you may be making a list or an itinerary of a certain place or places that you'd like to travel to once everything is over. All right, let's take a look at the Unicorn Oracle. Okay. Yeah, you are strong. Look what you got here. Wow, you got really nice cards. Okay, so you got beautiful cards. You got the Strength card here. And it says, this challenge will make you stronger. You'll get through to the other side. Look for the gifts in the situation. You could be going through a difficult situation now. It's possible. But I see this more for talking about, your past. And it coincides with all of the other cards and all the other explanations that I've already given, where you are extremely strong. And if anything, your difficult situations from the past, okay, have just... instead of making you shrink down, you're a fighter, right? So the fight or flight. So you just keep fighting and you keep getting stronger. And that's super powerful because not everyone's like you. Some people, I'm just going to put that right there. Some people are not at all. You, my friend, are a goddess. Or a god. Honor your divine feminine energy, see your inner beauty, love every part of you. Now, whether you're a guy or a girl, this is just talking about honoring your inner divinity, I think. It could be that you're, honoring your divine feminine. We are all a mixture of feminine and masculine energy. But it could also mean that you need to honor your divine masculine if you're a guy. I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. Here we're talking about intuition. We're talking about the arts. We're talking about creativity. We're talking about sensuality. We're talking about, oh gosh, so much. Just understanding the world through, you know, in more abstract, metaphorical ways, understanding, you know, the importance of nurturing and compassion. This is all, you know, when you honor your divine feminine, you're not just honoring your sexuality, you're honoring your ability to nurture, you're honoring your ability to care for others, you're honoring your ability to use your laser sharp intuition, which you have very good intuition when it comes to other people, so I would definitely trust it, right? You're honoring your ability to go with the flow, to not always have this strict schedule, to play, to understand what other people want and need. I'm getting that you're also a very good communicator, instinctive communicator. You have the ability of telepathy. I would look into it. Many of you have the ability to just innately understand what the other is thinking and feeling, and you can even do this with trees and animals, plants. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but you might want to just take a walk around the neighborhood and see if you connect with the birds and the trees, and see if you receive any messages, and see how you receive them. If you're telepathic, you're probably going to just, you know, see a sentence in your mind or hear a sentence. It's not actually hearing necessarily. It could be, but it's more so, you know, your inner ear. So it's like, you know, when you do like a character for a book and you read a book and then you invent like a character's voice in your head. It's kind of like that, where you have someone else's ideas in your head, but they oftentimes can seem like you thought them up yourself, and so you can just chalk it up to having like this overactive imagination. But at the end of the day, it has to do with these messages that you're receiving, and measure them up. Do the messages feel right? Not necessarily good or bad, but do they feel like it's a correct message? Do you get a good feeling, like a feeling of, this is right? Like, you know, just a gut feeling? Or do you get like a tightening feeling, or this is wrong, or I don't think that's the case, or it just doesn't feel, you'll know what I mean. I think this group especially, I don't have to explain too much with you guys. You guys are fairly intuitive, like I said, telepathic, Heyoka, empath, so you know what I mean when something feels right or feels wrong. Either way, you are a survivor. You are a powerful creature. You are a powerful person. And I applaud your strength, and I applaud you staying in the game and not giving up, right? So thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks. Bye. Hello, number 2. Okay. All right, number 2. We're going to start off, I'm going to build up. I did the fairy tale character at the beginning for group 1, but with you guys, I feel like we need to build up to it. Like it has to be something in anticipation, you know, that we're going to work up to. So first I'm going to talk about who you are. We're going to start with the fairy deck, the Faeries Oracle. Okay, so let's, whoa, that one wanted to come out. Okay. Just 2 cards. 3. All right. Excuse me. Ugh. All right, just picking up a card from the ground. So you have Lasguna. I know the words are probably backwards for you, but Lasguna. You have, oops, the other side. You have Lysed Moon's daughter, okay. And you have the Topsy-Turvets. Very interesting person already. You're very resourceful. You can find a lot that other people just discard. You can look at something and you can turn it into the most unconventional solution ever, and everyone will just be in awe. Like, how did you do that? How did you think that way? How did you know to do that? How did you even come up with it? So that's your genius too, is your ability to be resourceful and to think in very unconventional ways and look at problems and find these incredible solutions. You're the person who, you can go to, for example, a thrift shop, let's say, and you can find like a gold mine of clothing items or accessories, and if something's broken, you can turn it into something even more beautiful and gorgeous. You can also be possibly very good with your hands. You're able to just create, maybe with cooking or baking, you can do really neat things, or maybe you're into these really cool hacks, okay, where you can understand something kinesthetically and holistically very well, so you can see certain solutions, which is awesome because that is an intelligence that I do not have, and I'm always so in awe, of people who do. So this card kind of toppled over. It was my fault, but let's say it wasn't, and this card is walking up to you, hello, and wants to talk to you. So the moon's daughter, you are quite mysterious in the way you think, the way you move about, and the way you do things. You kind of keep to yourself in many ways, but at the same time, there's a little bit of that inner joker to you where people can't help but just be awestruck of your every move and just wonder what you're going to come up with next. You're quite mischievous, even though you come off as more maybe quiet or serious on the outside. You're actually quite silly on the inside, not really serious at all, and you don't take yourself too seriously, which is a very important quality to have. All right. The topsy-turvets, well, you're very detail oriented. I see. You can, I remember my mother told me once, this is interesting. She said that someone told her, a psychic had told her that people who are able to find things really well intuitively oftentimes are, have these sort of like witchy abilities, or can be associated with, certain crafts like witchcraft, paganism, or whatever. So you may be a natural born witch. And you may not be very interested in witchcraft, or you may be really learning to study the craft and, what resonates for you, what doesn't. But if you have the ability to just know where something is and be able to find it, this speaks to your ability to do remote viewing. Look that up, remote as in remote control, and then viewing. Remote viewing. Where you could see things in another location, even though you're not in that location. And then you just feel where things are, and you just know, you get that information that it just comes to you. Sometimes you have to sit and think about it for a little bit, but once it comes to you, it just comes, and you just know, and you always know. And so you may be a natural born witch, which is awesome. That, if you're into the concepts of past lives, this could speak to many lives of, learning the craft and living the craft. But if you're not into past lives, maybe, when you were a kid, did you like to dress up as a witch or a wizard, or were you into Harry Potter, or, all of these are good indications and confirmations that indeed you have a special connection with, the wise ones. If you're looking at earth angels, I'll do that topic in another video. But yeah. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about this. I'm getting awesome vibes from you. It's just like really cool energy. Like I could just see you sitting somewhere and sipping tea in like this really cool, like dimly lit room with like all of your like crystals and everything around, and you're just the kind of person that doesn't take things too crazy. You're super grounded. You have awesome earthy energy, like earthy spiritual energy. But you're really good with making up certain like herbal remedies or concoctions. You're probably good with, you probably have a very good green thumb and able to take care of plants. But either way, you are very kind of this grounded person, yet super, 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 super psychic and intuitive. And like I said, able to find things really well. Very practically minded as well. It was super practically minded. So you're just like a paradox. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, let's look at the Oracle of the Unicorns. All right, let's see what we have. Nice. Okay, we have flow. And we have compassion. So for flow, it says find an easier path forwards. Surrender the outcome. Release your expectations. Okay. For compassion, it says be gentle with yourself. I should show it to you. So that's flow. And then be gentle with yourself. Forgiveness will set you free. See the light in yourself and others. But I think that's what you do. You may hold on to certain grudges and you may want to let that go. But I feel like through your own actions, you also actually help to, I feel like a really go with the flow person at the end of the day. And you help others to let go of grudges and things that they hold on to. So you're this really cool, like handy, down to earth, psychic, spiritual, like boho person maybe. And you're super resourceful. You can make gold out of nothing, it seems. You're very go with the flow in your day-to-day, and you have a big, 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 big heart. I could see you as someone who really does love animals and loves plants, and definitely an advocate in your own way, not necessarily someone who's going to go out and hold up signs, and you may be like that, but I feel like you're a little bit more low-key. You're more of an introvert in that way. You can be an ambivert. I'm actually getting ambivert vibes from you. You need people, but then you need to be on your own, and I relate. I'm like that too. But yeah, you're super go with the flow, super chill, you're just cool. You're a cool person. I like you. Okay. Let's see what Fairytale character you are. Okay. So Fairytale character you are. Let's see. That one came out pretty quickly. Oh, nice. Okay, for sure. Okay, this is what I get from this. All right, and I'll point you in the right direction for another video. Okay, so you have the Children of Lyre. Voice is a key word. Are you a songwriter? Do you write poetry? Do you write something with your words? Something how you communicate to others? You can be telepathic as well and clairaudient as far as psychic abilities are concerned. I mean, you have a lot since you're a natural born witch. But, as far as the swan is concerned, this talks about in the whole situation with children of light. This is the impression that I get from this. This is my intuition here. Okay, you're a starseed as well as being, a wise one. If you want to look at earth angel kind of terms, wise one or natural witch. You're also starseed, and you connect to the stars. You have this powerful connection with the stars. If you're not sure what a starseed is, a starseed, many people believe is basically an alien. So a soul, You know, being a starseed means that you are not originally human. That if you believe in incarnation, once again, I don't know if you do or you don't, but if you do believe in incarnation, then it's the idea that, you know, you originally came from another star system, another planet, which is very cool. So if you're interested, you can take a look at my starseed video on my channel as well, because that'll give you possibly some more insight into what kind of starseed you may be. I only have 3 options there, though. I would like to post another video soon with more options, but you can definitely look around and see if this term resonates with you, starseed. But yeah, your fairy tale character, the Children of Lar. This is an Irish fairy tale. I have to say I'm not 100% familiar with it. Okay, so you can look it up. Children of Lar, Lyre, L-I-R. Okay, and it has to do with basically this girl's brothers who were turned into swans, and then she had to save them. There was a curse put on them, and you know. I look at swans, though, as a symbol for, you know, I think of the story, The Ugly Duckling, to be honest. So you can also be the swan from The Ugly Duckling, or the Swan Princess. You're sort of this ethereal being that is kind of out of place with your natural day-to-day world. You don't really fit in with the rest of the people. They may be overly conservative or have very different views from you. Either way, or maybe you're, you know, super like organic and natural and you love nature, and then you're around a lot of like tech geeks or something, right? So, you know, wherever you are, you just sort of stand out. You're just different somehow, okay? You're not like one of these people is not like the other, right? There's something different about you, and I believe that you are a starseed. And the swans talk about, with the story of The Ugly Duckling, you know, we thought that this little baby bird was a duckling, and it was gray, and it didn't look like the other ducklings. We thought it was ugly. Okay, so this bird was out of place, and this might speak to your, you know, growing up and people picking on you for stupid reasons. And then you grow up and you're just like drop dead gorgeous, and you're brilliant, and you're amazing in every way, and everybody wants you, and everyone wants to be with you and to be you. And because you've turned into the swan, because people realize, wow, you know, you're just like this magical being. That's like this witch who's a starseed, and just like, wow, it's incredible. So very, very cool. Don't worry about the negative Nancy's around you if you experience anything like that, where people kind of throw shade at you, because those, you know, someone who is unhappy or someone who is spewing out hate in general is not a happy person, and rather empty on the inside. So, you know, don't let other people's insecurities stand in your way. You're different. Embrace who you are. What I like about you is you have a good mixture between your left and your right brain as well. So people can't really reproach you, I should say, on not, you know, maybe sometimes you slack off, it's possible, but in general, you know what needs to get done, and you get it done. You just have a different way of going about it. So people can't really reproach you about, you know, going with the flow and just being like an amazingly compassionate, beautiful person that you are, right? So I think you're fabulous. You should know. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I will see you next time. You feel free to check out my starseed video if it calls to you. Otherwise, I will post another video soon. Thank you so much. Bye. Hello, number 3. Number 3, let's start with the Fairies Oracle deck, and we're going to shuffle the cards and get an idea of who you are. Okay, I'm getting to pull out 2 cards for you guys, so let's see why that is. Okay, 1. Yeah. Let's do that again, cards. Too much chaotic energy right now. Maybe you feel like you're a little spacing all over the place. It's possible. Oh, nice. You're going to love yours. I think you will. I mean, I would. Okay, so as far as your fairy tale characters are concerned, you're actually a combination of 2. So with group, it's interesting because with group 1, there was 3 different kind of groups with an overarching archetypal fairy tale character that kind of encompassed and tied in all of them. With this group, you guys are simply a mixture of 2 fairy tale characters. And the characters that you are a mixture of 2 of are, ta-da, the Snow Queen, keyword loyalty, and Cinderella, keyword magic. So basically, if we're going to go by Disney, that's Cinderella and Elsa. Yay. I love it. I love it. I love it. It is so awesome. Okay. You are quite magical person. You are very magical. It's very interesting because all of the groups have been pretty magical in different ways. So you are an amazing manifester. On a side note, you can manifest your dreams in a timely manner. You should trust divine timing because it's definitely on your side, even though sometimes things don't, they seem like they're going too slowly and things don't seem like they're going your way. I want you to really, 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 really trust divine timing, because if you look back to certain moments in your life, you'll notice that whether you spoke out of good intent or bad intent for yourself or for others, usually for yourself, you ended up manifesting that, whether it was immediately or in a delayed fashion. So be careful what you wish for. This certainly applies to you. And then as far as, and that's kind of, if you think of, okay, so if you think of Elsa as well, like think of the story, if you've seen Frozen, for example, and if you haven't, no problem, I'm just going to explain a little bit. So she has this amazing, amazing ability to control the element of ice and snow, okay? And basically her powers react to how she feels. So if she's feeling, I want you guys to see that. That's better, right? That's much better. Sorry it was so far away. So if she was feeling scared, she then, her energy started to get chaotic, and her fear actually, nothing to fear but fear itself. Her fear is what propelled her to have these violent, defensive attacks back at the people who are sort of persecuting her or following her. When she took control of her power, she realized that it started off with her emotions. That if she feels calm and centered and peaceful and loving, then she's able to manipulate her powers, and her powers mimic her sort of more harmonious energy. But if she's feeling upset and overwhelmed, her energy is going to respond the same way. This makes complete sense, right? It all comes down to your emotions. If you're very overwhelmed on the inside, you're going to create a domino effect of reactions around you from other people, from yourself, that will just create a mountain out of a molehill, where you'll be your own prophet for worst case scenarios. And it's very simple what you have to do. You just have to remember, one, that you're this magical being, that ultimately the reaction is up to you. For as drastic and as dire as a situation can be, you can always turn it around with your thoughts, even though you're still feeling a little off or scared or not sure that the outcome is going to happen. Just keep projecting positive feeling and thought. As long as you do that, okay, into the situation, as long as you do that, even if you do feel a little fearful and doubtful, even if, as long as you, on top of that fear and that doubt, you continuously say, no, it's going to be okay. That's just my fear. That's just my doubt. I am going to project an image of happiness, of people coming together, of a beautiful, I don't know, peaceful moment during the day where I can do what I want, whatever it is that you want to manifest. And you will manifest it. Don't forget that with any kind of manifestation, you also have to put in the work. Of course, you do have this amazing ability to manifest things pretty quickly. Although keeping that in mind, there is always a delay for more important things. Like if you want to find your significant other, their energy has to align with yours. And depending on where they are in their life, it may take time for you to come together. Keep that in mind. As far as finding a career is concerned, you have to take other factors into consideration. But as long as you sort of have good tunnel vision about it and you keep seeing that outcome at the end of the tunnel, ignoring all of the naysayers and the negativity and the doubt around you, you will manifest what you want. Obviously, take into consideration practical advice, but you're someone who's able to manifest very, very quickly. You're very powerful. You're very whimsical. You're very beautiful, by the way, and you have a lovely, lovely voice. People really like hearing you sing and hum, and and you may, I'm getting the intuition that you may just kind of sing and hum to yourself regularly, and sometimes people might notice or may not, but either way, you just, you are, it's interesting because people are a little afraid of you in a way, but it's a good thing, I promise. It's not a bad thing. Because you have this very strong ability to manifest, and people see you manifesting what you want a lot of the times, and if you don't manifest what you want, then you might manifest negative things. Either way, people still see you manifesting, whether it's good or bad. And so because people see you manifesting, people are a little intimidated by your sort of gifts and abilities and what you can do with them. Are you going to use it against them? They don't necessarily think about that so much as, how are you doing this? And there's a fear in the unknown. There's a fear in not understanding when things don't work in a linear fashion. People start to get a little anxious and fearful. And you may not even notice that you intimidate people or that some people are afraid of you. Usually these people are pretty low vibrational. And they project a lot of fears onto you, just like they project a lot of fears onto others in general. So don't worry so much about them. Let's get a little bit more, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing there, information about you. I want to take out the Unicorn Oracle deck here. All right. Okay. Prosperity, dance, compassion. I felt that one really, really hard in my chest there. Watch out. Take it easy with yourself. Because you have such a powerful energy, you often feel other people's negative projections. And this propels you to not be so nice to yourself sometimes. Watch out for that. Because you are the kindest person to others. You're very kind. Don't underestimate yourself. You think about people in ways that, you know, they don't think about themselves, or don't bother to, you know, do anything about for others, if that makes sense. And my goodness, to talk about your ability to manifest again. You have prosperity right here, right? Prosperity. So you are really capable of manifesting whatever it is you want. And I'm getting some of you are quite prosperous. You may be financially quite well off. And so you have to take a moment to understand your blessings. And if you're not financially well off, you could be prosperous, and you can be abundant in so many different ways, in love and friendships. And whatever it is, you're always well taken care of, even if you're not doing financially well in the moment. You have this ability to just, again, like I said, you can manifest whatever it is you want, right, towards you. So that is a gift that you need to use to your advantage. It was obviously given to you for a reason. Dance. The way I look at this one is that I think that, you could be very artistic and like dancing. You might be a dancer yourself and like to dance, but I would get in touch with the rhythm of music with your body. And if you want to know a good manifestation technique for you, manifest while you're dancing. Pick a song that you like and just move to the rhythm of the beat, and then just try to visualize attracting whatever it is you want. It's sort of like doing a ritualistic dance in order to attract, almost like a moving prayer. Use dance as a moving prayer. This also talks about you as a person are just kind of, elegant and light, and you have an airy feel to you, besides being just this powerful, energetic being. And you have this sort of young, spirited, childlike nature to you, and this fascination with the nighttime and the moon and the stars. You may be very drawn to them for a reason. You may be a starseed yourself, or you can just have a general awe and delight of the natural world, all that is etheric and to do with spirituality and the mystery and the magic of nature itself. You find magic wherever you go, because you are magic. You are. And I don't mean this when I say things, I don't say them because I'm speaking to you right now. I'm not saying you are magic as in like, oh, everybody's magic. You are magic. Just a generalization. You are magic. You can manifest. No, I'm saying this to you. You are magic. You have this magical quality about you. It's just, you exude magic through your eyes, through the way you move, your hair. You just sparkle. You're a magical being in all intents and purposes. In all senses of the word, you are magic. And you are an extremely amazing manifester. You have the magic touch. You have the Midas touch. And you need to remember that when you are not feeling so great, just dance it out. Okay. I don't know why I started putting cards away, but I have a few more that I'd like to show you. Okay, so let's shuffle the Fairies Oracle. Okay, just two there. Oh, this one wants to come out. You got the fairy godmother and your Cinderella. You may be the fairy godmother to other people as well. You know, you have a fairy godmother and you are very divinely protected and loved by past ancestors. I'm feeling like a grandmother figure could be around you all the time. And it could be an ancestor that you haven't met. Definitely you have a connection to the Fae and the elemental realms for sure. And you do have, you know, a lot of animal totems. Look up owl totem, spirit animal. I've just heard the badger in my head. Don't know why, but fairies in general really love hanging around you if you're into that concept. Okay. Then you have, yes, the oak man. So you're very much connected to the earth, to the nature, to trees. And you have, once again, this ability to create Laskuna, something out of nothing where you can just fish something out. And then it's just like you're able to manifest. You're able to manifest whatever it is that you want. You just find things, you just create things, you just make things happen. And you have this magical, you're just this, it's almost like I can just see sparkles around you in your aura. And I'm getting, you probably do have a lot of sparkles in your aura. And that could signify as well that you are surrounded by a lot of sort of angelic beings. Could be angels, could be fairies. When I say angelic beings, I'm referring to just, you know, light beings, basically. So whether they look after people primarily or plants doesn't really make a difference. They're still, in my opinion, angelic beings. So, yeah, you're just lovely. You're just a lovely person. You're a magical person. You're very connected. You're very connected to the Fae, to the fairies. You're awesome. You should look that up. That's a super cool thing because not everybody is connected to the Fae like you are. So that is super enviable, and a lot of people would love to have that kind of, you know, supernatural connection. So thank you once again so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video. Side note, you may want to just check out the video that I have on fairies and the elementals and their messages for you. That might interest you as well. Anyway, thank you again, and see you soon. All right, number 4. Hello. Let's take a look. Let's see what fairy tale character you are. You excited? I'm excited for you. I heard a yes. I love anything to do with fairy tale characters and stuff. Is that one you? This one popped up again. I don't know why, but I'm just going to shuffle again because I just want to I want to make sure that there's no residual energy from the other reading. So what is your fairy tale character? Interesting. Let's do that again. Fairy tale character, come on, fairy tale character. Oh, this one's like me. Okay, that's the one. That's the one. Oh, this tried to come out again. It came out a couple of times. You may want to look up the story of Rumpelstiltskin, and you may be drawn to the first pile. So you can take a look at that if that's the case. Otherwise, this card tried to come out twice. And fair, brown, and trembling. Keyword gifts. I'm actually going to, because this is your main story here, I'm going to take a look at some deeper meanings here of this. And it is number 38. Okay. I'm going to try to skim. So let's quickly read. So this is an Irish fairy tale. An Irish king has 3 daughters. Their names are Fair, Brown, and Trembling. Odd names, but you know, fairy tale. Fairy tale names, fairy tale logic. Fair and Brown are pretty, vivacious, beloved, and spoiled. And Trembling is mocked for her nervousness, her shy nature, and her quiet self. So that would be you. But look how beautiful you are. And no one at all mentions her great beauty. Ah, I said that even before. I didn't realize that it was written there. So you are gorgeous. Brown are pretty. That's great. You know, nothing wrong with pretty. Pretty is great. But you're beautiful. You may be quiet. You may be shy. You may be more withdrawn, more secretive. But you're just like, you just exude this beautiful, 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 beautiful energy, and physically within you, and everything just sort of matches up. And you're not arrogant about it, and you're not in your face about it, and you're not super diva-ish about your looks, which I can't stand. And you know what I mean too. You don't want to be like that, and you're not like that. You know, you're humble, and you're too humble. And you're just a beautiful soul, and physically very beautiful. Okay, so one day you rallies courage to go to the church where she usually cannot go, for she is kept at home to cook and clean, while the other girls go to flirt and show off their fine gowns. Sounds like the story of Cinderella, so you may relate to Cinderella as well. One day while at home, she's visited by a very, very old woman who asks her what she would wear if she could. And so this you'll see like a Snow White, where the evil queen disguises herself as an old woman. But instead of the old woman in this case being evil, she's good. And I think she's like some kind of a fairy who's disguised herself as an old woman. Let's read on to find out. As Trembling describes the gown, it is woven about her, a gift from the crone. She has a bird upon each shoulder and a fine horse to ride upon, and is told by the old henwife to ride to the church, but not to enter it. And thus begins the tale of enchantment that is Fair, Brown, and Trembling. Basically, you are someone who... I'm just getting chills with you for some reason. I'm going to read this sentence to you. In short, it is a tale about valuing yourself and knowing that your very strangeness and shyness can be what makes you most valued, most loved, and most precious of all. I'm getting mad chills here. I'm feeling like a lot of you need to hear this. I'm going to read the key words for you. Divine assistance. You're divinely guided. You're divinely protected. Your spirit guides love you. You have a lot around you. You attract love wherever you go. People don't always say it. And if you're younger, you know, and you're in school, for example, like you're a teen, then you probably deal with a lot of the immaturity that people have. And just remember that people are just so immature. There's a lot going on hormonally, and you know, you'll find that your peers are just projecting negativity onto you because they're, keyword projecting, the negativity is something that they feel about themselves first, and when someone projects, it means that it was originally something that was aimed at them, but now they don't want it. Like a hot potato, they want to get rid of it, right? But if you're older, you may still experience this, and you just know that, you know, you're either coming into a massive awakening right now where you're changing your sort of approach to things, and you're finally getting the courage to just be yourself. And who cares if you don't align with everybody else's values and belief systems and even appearances, likes and dislikes, passions, goals, preferences. You are your own person, and life would be very boring if everyone looked the same. I personally love people who are more eccentric and stand out. Other keywords for you: working outside of traditional religion. You may feel like you've grown up, or you're around a lot of people who abide by certain more dogmatic approaches to spiritual practices, and you find that those for you are a little too restrictive. You don't necessarily believe the same things that other people believe, right? I mentioned belief systems before. So as far as religion goes, you just need to not be afraid to follow your own divine truth. I don't believe that there is one divine truth for everyone. That just doesn't make any sense to me. We have so many different interpretations. What's to say one person's interpretation is better than another person's interpretation just because they have, by human standards, more credence? But those are human standards. Those aren't divine standards. From a divinity point of view, someone who's 14 might have more wisdom and knowledge than someone who is 42. Is nothing necessarily to do with age, although we should always be respectful, I think, of the experience that people have garnered throughout their life. But, age has nothing to do with being an authority on, certain wisdom or practices. And I don't believe that we're all meant to follow the same principles. If that were the case, then we would all be made exactly alike. And I believe that we're made differently in order to challenge each other. And that's what you do, my dear. You challenge the norms, you challenge society, you challenge. You are not afraid to fail and try again and make mistakes and fall and pick yourself up. You are just this beautiful creature. Like, where do you come from? It's just, you're gorgeous. You're gorgeous. Let's take a look at what else you have here. Enchantment in its own regard, or in its own reward. Enchantment is its own reward. So don't worry about other people's approval. What do you feel when you follow your own spiritual practices, etc.? What do you feel about it? Generations to repay a good turn gladly done. Bonds between human and fairy. Ooh, nice. So you may want to take a look at my elemental video that I have. I forget what it was called. Something, Messages from the Fairies, I believe. And you are quite connected to the fae, to the fairy, to the realm of fairy, to the elementals, to the spirits that work with the, natural elements like plants and rocks and crystals, and water and fire, air, la la la, all of the elements. What else do you have? Long-lasting love. I think that you are meant to find your twin flame in this lifetime, if you haven't already found them. True love. And you're also meant to really, truly fall in love with yourself and create a long-lasting relationship with yourself that goes above and beyond this fear and need of having to be with people all the time. You don't have to be with people all the time because you're comfortable in your own skin. And if you don't feel completely comfortable in your own skin, this is part of your journey and mission through life, and you will be feeling very differently the next few years. In fact, I'm getting that you're almost going to be a completely different person the next few years. Not fundamentally, because fundamentally you are who you are, but I mean coming out of your shell, not being afraid to express your true authenticity. Do not dim the light of another, but do not allow other people's light to dim yours. Other people's lights may not be as strong as yours. Don't dim your light for them. Does that make sense? Wisdom of the crone. I know I said that, you know, wisdom has not necessarily anything to do with age, but also we also have to understand that there is a wisdom in aging that we do not have with younger generations. At least a wisdom in regards to life. And we must always be respectful of that wisdom. Not everybody has wisdom. Some people do, some people don't. But for those who do, it is always a treat to hear what they have to say. So for you, I'm going to take out, okay, a couple more cards here. From the, I'm hearing just one card from the, I don't know why, Oracle of the unicorns. For everybody, it's different. You are so connected to the Fae. I believe that you are an elemental, an earth angel, an incarnated fairy. Look it up, incarnated fairy. Definitely take a look at my video if you haven't already seen it about the fairies. You are very connected to plants. You're very connected to trees. You have probably a green thumb, and plants and animals just love your presence. You know, you just have this very soothing presence. It's very soothing to be around you. And as in all souls who are originally fairies, if you're into that concept, then you're going to have a very fairy-like appearance yourself. You're going to probably come across as very pixie-like or fairy, or have this sort of delicate quality, this airy quality to you, depending on which element you feel closest to. In your case, I do feel a lot of air, but not necessarily. It could be water, could be earthy as well, but you're definitely very beautiful. That is without a doubt. I will say that again. I know that we're talking about who you are, and it's not just your physical appearance, but I think in your case, your physical appearance says a lot about the kind of soul that you are. So you can, if you're into sort of facial personality analysis, there's a lot that you can analyze about a person just by looking at their face and their body. So, and anything, right? Their hands, their palms, their feet. Really, you can detect your personality in anything that you are. I won't go into that today, but you might be interested in that. And your physical appearance says a lot about who you are. Your eyes, your eye color, your eyelashes, the way you look, maybe, you know, the way you stare at things, the way you think, the way you move your mouth, the way you tilt your head, the way you know, just walk, your posture, everything, your hair, the way you style your hair, right? It all says something about you on a deep level, okay? The shape of your nose, like all of it is connected, and your beauty, your physical beauty, says a lot about the beauty of your soul. In your case, it's not always true, because with Fair, Brown, and Trembling, we have the two other girls who are very quite superficial in a way, right? Sure, they're pretty, but their souls are also maybe not so deep and kind of superficial. But for you, you are very deep and not superficial at all. So, yes, I was like, what? What was the other thing? The Fairies Oracle. So let's see what the fairies would like to communicate about you. Cool. Well, very interesting. There's a couple of cards here, and one of them, I'm kind of torn. I'm going to... The Dark Lady, there's a part of you that is a little bit more mysterious and dark, for sure. You have this sort of like, not gloomy, but there's just like this dark kind of secretive, mysterious, super like feminine in the sort of like yin being black, yang being white. So yin representing the moon, femininity, intuition, mystery. Okay, you really do embody those divine feminine qualities. And the fairies are generally more feminine sort of type of beings. Not always, of course. Some of them are quite masculine, but yeah, let's see what the other cards have to say. You have the Piper. Okay, yeah, you're very magnetic. You have this magnetic pull, this magnetic energy to you. And then Ike, the Iomancer. Sorry, just, it's hard to read with the writing. And then the words are so bizarre. So basically, this card talks about, you know, seeing details, actually, you know what? Let me get the book out because there's some specific information about that card that I would like to relay to you, but I'm not quite sure. I have to remember what it all is about. Ready to. Okay. So this is the Faeries Oracle by Brian Froud. He's this artist who draws the elementals and fairies. Okay, so yeah, so you're someone who exactly details. Okay, so I guess I was just trying to confirm that. Okay, so yeah, so you're very you can see details that other people miss very, very, very easily and all the time. And you don't know how people miss them. And probably because you're more introverted and more quiet, you're going to be a little bit more reflective and you're going to focus on things that people don't usually focus on. Just because you're not always focused on being social and being present, you know, verbally and even emotionally or energetically with other people, your energy is going to be focused on all of the other things that people miss when they are super hyper focused on just trying to fit in and be part of the crowd, right? A lot of the times this kind of the case, at least for, you know, people around you, what you notice. And you are very magnetic. You draw people in. There's some mystery to you, and there's some kind of like, who's that girl? She's like a little different, or she's a little weird, or whatever. But like, that's so annoying of these people. They're just, you have to understand, they're just, part of them, part of it's fear, part of it's a little bit of, you know, envy, basically. And a longing to secretly deep down know what you're all about and be you. So when people kind of heckle the odd person out, it's because that person is not like them. And there's this threat for someone who is not like the rest of the group. It's a very primal, instinctive, like caveman mentality and approach of like, ooga, ooga, you not like me, you scary, you must, you are a threat to tribe. Think of it like that, and it's going to change your whole perspective about, you know, bullying and other people trying to put you down. Like if you can think, oh, these people are just like very primitive mentality, like they're just afraid, they're just like, they don't even realize how much their own biology has affected the way they think. And you're beyond and you're above all that because you're a deep person and you're a deep thinker. And you will connect with your tribe, all right? I don't want you to worry too much about that. Like I said, awakening, next few years, you're going to be a completely different person. You do have a lot of elementals around you who love to spend time with you. So if you can spend time in nature with animals, you're going to really find your tribe a lot sooner than if you keep to yourself. So just make sure that you do spend the time outside with plants, animals. They will always, always, always make you feel better. They like your energy. They feel very non-threatened by you because they're Animals are smart, man. You know that. Animals are intelligent. They know what's up. They know who they can trust and who they can't. And we can't say the same about people, right? People don't always know who they trust and who they can't. So, yeah, I know that it's not always the case with animals, true. But generally speaking, we can say that animals are generally pretty intuitive about, you know, people who are good and people who are not so good. And they love you. So that says a lot. If animals, this is my kind of always a good staple of good character. If animals love you, if plants do well around you, well, actually, I'll say this. If animals love you and children love you, that's always usually a good marker of the kind of person that you are. I'm getting that children generally are drawn towards you, even if you don't attempt to, you know, make them feel comfortable or, you know, make cutesy faces at them. They just generally like you. They feel that there's this playful, childlike, whimsical, magical, fairy-esque vibe about you because you do have this connection to the elemental realm. And ultimately, you are very authentic. You're at your core. I like that about you, that you're not someone who is going to... You may have toyed with trying to fake who you are and be somebody else for a time, but that just didn't work because ultimately you hated yourself for it and you didn't feel healthy, right? It just felt like you just felt sick about it. So the more authentic you are and the more you don't have to yell out who you are to the rooftop necessarily, but the more true you are to yourself, being authentic to who you are naturally and how you naturally act, the more you will see how happy you will be. You are just like, I love your energy. It's so like elemental and fairy and magic and magnetic. And, you know, you have that like kind of melancholy romantic poet feel going on. So I love that even more. And, you're just a beautiful, beautiful creature. As I said before, you're just gorgeous physically and internally as well. On all levels, you are beautiful. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to watch that other kind of fairies message video if you haven't seen it already. And I look forward to seeing you back in the next video. Thank you. Any sort of chaotic situation to you, you know how to manage really well. Other people kind of go crazy and you're just like, let me handle it, I got it. And somehow you can make your way through the mud and everyone's like, what? How did you find that? How did you get there? How did you see that? How did you know that? And I think this just drives people crazy and they just want to understand how you do it. Because for you, it's so simple. You just see things very clearly. You can be, for example, let's say you have your desk with things all over the place and someone else might feel overwhelmed or say, well, how did you find it? And for you, you can just see, you know, certain kind of like if you had a special camera, you know, futuristic vision of some kind, and then you can just see like certain little pathways to, right? Not literally, but you know what I mean, pathways to like where your things are, and you just know everything.